Good afternoon, everybody. This is Michelle and
Patty, how are you guys?
we are back with what we're calling right now somewhere in the middle, because that's what our goal is, to always meet in the middle, respectively, and with our I don't know what I want to say.
It was so good until you ruined it.
Okay,
All right.
let's do it again. It's still running.
All right.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Michelle.
Hi, and this is Patty. How are you guys?
We hope you are doing well on this fine day. We are back with what we're calling right now somewhere in the middle. We, through these discussions, this podcast that is only available at shadesmagazine.com, we hope to share our ideas, talk about issues that maybe we agree on, we don't agree on. And through it all, we hope to just kind of meet somewhere in the middle and just always, if we agree to disagree or if we agree to embrace one another's thoughts and opinions. That's what we're here about, because in the end, none of that really matters.
No, not at all. And sometimes when you just listen and, kind of come at it with an open heart, you're going to learn something new, something that you didn't expect to learn, and you're able to see things from someone else's perspective. And that's a huge part of kind of growing as a person. No matter how old you are, you can always grow a little more, learn a little more. By meeting in the middle, that means you're going to have to listen. And sometimes you don't like what you're going to hear, but at the same token, when you really and truly listen with an open heart, you're going to learn something new. And that learning leads to growth that can help all of us, not just an individual. But when we understand the perspective of somebody else, somebody who has a different life experience, a different economic experience, a different anything, you can develop more of a compassion for their cause. You gain a respect, and it just kind of, it's going to work.
Yeah, I think too many of us don't listen. There's a quote that says that too many of us don't listen to understand. We listen to reply back.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to do that on these podcasts. We, as we have said in the past, have been friends 40 plus years, and I think that helps with it. But we weren't together all those years, and we've been able to come back and still be very respectful, learning about one another, learning about, the things that make us who we are and that we're passionate about. And it just takes a minute to really listen to someone and take in what they have to say, and not just be ready to shoot something back at them because you don't agree with them.
Especially nowadays when people are shouting down their truth. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if I shout what I believe in loud enough and long enough, then whoever I'm shouting at is going to somehow acquiesce, and they're going to agree with me. And that's just not how life works. I mean, I don't know. I'm the mother of 3 adult now children. I know, Michelle, you're the mother of 4. And I don't remember ever screaming enough that would make my kids kind of hop to attention. It seemed to be the best learning method. The best times are when I spoke softly.
Exactly.
And
which is hard to do sometimes.
But it was almost impossible, trust me. No. My kids will tell you a different story.
Yeah, and I think, in the world, or through our friendships, through our business associates, I think there was a time when it was easier to talk a little softer, but people have become so divided. And unfortunately, the political landscape has contributed to it, and it's filtered down to not just who do you want or who did you want for president. It's gone beyond that to, what people's faiths are, what their personal beliefs are, and it seems like for many people, theirs is the right way and there is no other way. And,
Yeah.
it's really sad. We're seeing a lot of people
Friendships lost,
yeah,
families,
divided.
kind of divided. Yeah, it's just it's uncomfortable, and out of this discomfort, let's get some growth. Let's make something positive happen from it. And these conversations need to be had.
Right.
You can't just with them. So that being said, what should we focus on today?
I know you can't see her, but she's going to be looking at me like she could kill me. But
More than likely.
I want to talk about all this immigration
Ah, okay.
going
All right.
on and
Okay.
bans on immigration, people being deported. There was a big story in Arizona, which had a mother who actually had who is a felon, and but she had changed her life. I believe that happened when she was very young, but has changed her life. It was over fraud, so it wasn't murder, but it was still, a felony, and changed her life, had kids, she was married, and she regularly, she did not become a citizen, of course, and would go in and check in with ICE, and because of recent events, she, during the last visit, was told she had to leave the country and she was being deported. And it drew a lot of attention, not just in the Phoenix area, but across the country. If that was fair, if it wasn't, and that came after the ban on Muslims, quote unquote, that took place last week. But what about this one, that took place in Arizona? What do you think
I
about
think
that?
the issue is so complicated, honestly, that just when you take an issue this large and you break it down to individual people, you realize that it's not black or white. This is a mother. This is a wife. This is a woman who was trying to do right by her children. The look on her face was heartbreaking. And as a mother, my heart broke for her.
Ooh, yeah.
As a law-abiding citizen, I wanted to know more. I was like, wait a minute. We either have a law or we don't. Then you have to look beyond that and you have to say, okay, what is the intention of the law? And the way I'm looking at it, and from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the violent offenders or people who have come over that are, for lack of a better term, I'm going to use Trump's term, illegal aliens, meaning people who came into the country without the proper authorization. If they have committed a violent, bad kind of crime, and which resulted in injury to somebody, I don't want them in my country. If it was a non-violent, I needed to survive, I needed to get some kind of a work paper so I could make money to feed my children, I think we're looking at a different issue. And I think it's going to take a court of law to kind of maybe have different categories of what is an illegal alien. Like, help me out here.
I do want to say one thing. Let's not call people aliens.
Okay, you're right. That is a pet peeve of Michelle.
Yes.
She says alien. So,
but and it's common, and being in Arizona, you hear that a lot more. I think it's changed a lot, but growing up, that was the term that everyone used, and unfortunately, I've heard it being used, all the way up to the presidency recently, the term alien again, which does bother me. But it's just either illegal, persons, illegals. You don't always use undocumented workers because we don't. That's usually, they're working, but you can also say undocumented, individuals.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you.
If you have somebody who is in a gang, who's committed murder, who's committed rape, who has, my pet peeve, the coyotes, the people who smuggle in these desperate people. And you hear these stories of how they then hold these people hostage and demand more money from their families who are already poor. They, to me, are the true predators. Those are the people. They have no business being in this country. They truly don't. They don't have no business being anywhere. Let's call a spade here. But But I really, if the intent of the law is to keep out a threat of bodily harm or financial harm for people who are quote unquote legal citizens, I should say, then what methodology can be used to enforce that? If the intent of the law is to just not let anybody in because you have to have papers, we got to track you for whatever reason, then we have to have some kind of a systematic way to go about it, to figure out the intent, because I don't think anybody wants to see a family torn apart.
No.
A child who's brought over at the age of 2.
Right.
They've been here their whole life. Maybe they hardly speak Spanish. You can't send them back. This is like, it's immoral. It is immoral.
And, you know, I think in this case, too, you know, and I don't know all of the facts with, you know, the law and everything. However, as you said, you know, she was not a violent individual. She committed a crime, yes. But I feel people can, you know, just like if someone goes to prison and they're rehabilitated, you know, she had turned her life around. And if you're going to send someone back like that, she was being honest, checking in as she was supposed to.
Yeah.
Look at all those that are out there that are violent, and yes, you want to send them back, but what are you doing to get these people? And something like just stopping someone because you think or you want to check, that can't be done. So I would say we need to figure out how to get the violent people out before we start sending people who are not we are not in danger of them living here.
Right. And it would be interesting to see how much did it cost in manpower, in administration, paperwork, and everything to get this woman out who was not a violent offender.
Right.
Could that money have been put to better use? And I would say yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think a lot of the enforcement going on, their hands are kind of tied. This is the law as it stands. So the law needs to be perhaps changed.
Exactly.
Or broken down into different degrees, of
right.
Red alert, murderer on the streets. I don't know. It's funny. I mean, I guess when we start rounding up Canadians and shipping them out, then we'll know.
We'll hear something. Yeah, that's, you brought up a point about cost, and I think that's one thing, it just, I'm amazed at. I don't hear a lot about the cost of building a wall, except that Mexico is going to pay for it, which they aren't, and they're not about to. But, the time it would take, the money it would take, I don't understand how, you can put and there, look how much of a border that is. I mean, you're talking about all the way from Texas to Baja California.
From an engineering standpoint, I don't know how I really don't.
You may be able to put some areas, but people just go around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I understand the concept of a country does need borders.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me, I'm going to say the illegal immigration is rampant. It's not safe. These are desperate people trying to come in for the most part. And we have to make a way that they can come in safely, that they can be processed quickly, that mothers are not trekking across a desert in 120-degree weather with little children.
Right.
To me, that is a humanitarian crisis, and it's wrong. But yet, the way our law is set up, they feel that is their only alternative. That's the only way they can get in. Exactly. So why are we not putting those resources into,
creating something that would allow people to come over the
Yeah.
right way.
Absolutely. So a way that they are safe. And that's what I look at it as. And it just, there's not a day that goes by, at least here in Arizona, that you don't hear about some coyote house being raided. And these are, again, like people who just wanted to work. They're not funneling money to the drug cartels, or maybe their family is being bribed by a drug cartel in that situation. But that's where their money ends up going. So let's see what we can do to focus as a country.
Yeah, we
for
have
worker permits,
right, and we have vetting when it comes to people from overseas coming here, or so why can't we add anyone,
Almost a
either
resettlement
Mexican,
camp. Maybe that's what we need: a resettlement camps where if you're really if you're desperate to come, there's a place that you can stay safely while you're being processed. While you're being looked at. Maybe there can be on-site job situations. Like many of these people are migrant farmers.
Right.
You can come and safely get hired by the farms or so. I don't know. And again, I'm just throwing some ideas out there. And my disclaimer is I'm a very conservative Republican, but yet I'm also, I'd like to think, a humanitarian. I don't want to close our country off because that's different background. My grandfather was an illegal alien, or illegal immigrant. He came from Ireland, no documentation, and was kind of running from his life. He was from Northern Ireland, and he was desperate. So again, like I'm the direct. I got to benefit from my grandfather's sacrifice, shall we say, and the fact that nobody was hunting down the Irish at that time to kick us out. Thank goodness, or my family wouldn't be here.
Right. I think we have a problem of always, and it gets into stereotypes of, as you said, European people that have come to this country. I know we're talking about, 100 years ago maybe, but, they still came here. Some came here without any documentation, or they came and then they stayed here. I mean, there's a lot, just because they don't live where they can walk across. It kind of takes it back to, why don't we put the money into creating that place where
safe zone.
Safe zone. So that people in Mexico and Central America and South America can come through the same way someone flies into here.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the Bay Area. Is there a large influx of people coming from Asia?
Yeah.
I've heard it. I mean, I'm just going to say that that all countries are coming. It's not just people from Mexico or Central America.
Right. Exactly.
And so these people are coming and they want to work. They want to make their lives better for their families. So.
Right.
All right. It's going to be food for thought, I think, which leads us to what our next podcast is going into, which
what do you think?
Might be interesting. So
we'll keep you posted.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to thank you again for listening. If you have thoughts, comments, please write us, shadesmagazine1@gmail.com. You can always visit our website, if you're not there already, at shadesmagazine.com. And you can find us on almost all of the social media platforms. So we hope you have a blessed day, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.